Hey everybody, my name is Gary Spikes and welcome to another Star Citizen video. In today's video, we're talking about a ship that takes me and probably a lot of you all the way back to your roots. But before we get started with that, of course, a big shout out to one of our VIP Gold contributors, and this week, that's going to be Odin's Eye. Odin is relatively new to our community, but has been instrumental in helping a lot of other folks get acquainted with mining, as well as he's been extremely generous in the stream, and so I wanted to thank him for a moment here for being a member of our community, as well as a VIP Gold contributor. I'll leave a link to his Twitch below as well, so make sure to go check him out. Of course, you can also join me on stream Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 PM Eastern over on Twitch, as well as our wonderful Discord community. The links for those will be down below as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this video. Alright, so we're at a very snowy Microtech, which could be expected around Luminalia, which is being celebrated at the filming of this video, and we're hanging out in our Aurora LN. Now, the LN is a combat variant of the Aurora lineup of ships from RSI, but there is also the MR, which is very, very similar. The difference between the two is that the LN does come a little bit more pimped out of the factory, and you can pick up both of them in-game or on the website. Currently, if you want to get yourself a game package, you can do so with an Aurora MR for $40, which is discounted due to Luminalia. Of course, it's also available $45 regular price, and of course you can get the standalone version of the LN if you'd like for $40 as well, but that doesn't include a copy of Star Citizen. You can also pick up these ships in-game for $185,000 roughly for the MR variant, and about $338,000 and change for the LN. By the way, if you're a brand new player and you haven't created your account yet, you can do so with the referral link or the referral code down below in the description, which really helps me out a lot and also gives you an additional 5,000 Alpha UEC to get started in the game. We also have a wonderful Discord community that can help you if you run into any issues, so make sure to use the link in the description and come on by and say hello. Okay, so let's have a look at the exterior features of this LN, and I'll do my best to draw comparisons to the MR since I know that a lot of you will be picking that up, either by itself or generally as part of a game package. Now, looking at the front of the ship here, right under the canopy here, we can see that we have a pair of CF117 Bulldog laser repeaters. Now, these can be found on the MR as well, but on the LN we also get an additional one right here under the port side wing, and yet another under the starboard side wing, which is pretty cool. So 4 in total on the LN, while you only get 2 on the MR. And we also have some missiles on both ships, and on the MR you can get 2 size 1 missiles by default, and on the LN you get 4 size 2 missiles by default. Now, you can change the kind of racks that you have, but we'll look at those a little bit later on when we're looking at Oracle.games. Both of the ships have a very, very similar look, and if you happen to have this really neat looking Luminalia skin, you can put it on just about any Aurora that you might own. So don't worry if you have the MR versus the LN or the other way around. As long as you go to the RSI website during the festivities, you can get yourself one of these as well. Of course, you can also grab yourself one for the Mustang if you happen to own that ship, or the Caterpillar, which was released today. Now, some similarities between the two ships obviously is that they share the same airframe, so they are very, very similar in looks, and that includes the 2 main ingress and egress points found on both sides of the ship. They both have 3 landing gear, 1 in the front and 2 in the back, and they both carry a similar amount of cargo, which is really not too much, but it's enough to get the job done. Now, one thing that's really cool about the Aurora as opposed to the Mustang is that at least you can carry some stuff on the inside. You can do box missions and move things around, and especially with the new physicalized inventory, that definitely helps a lot. Now, that's not to say that you can't have a bed and a kitchenette in a Mustang. You can. In fact, you get one with the beta. But unfortunately, getting into there is kind of difficult, and it relies on you having to get into your seat first, which is not the case on the Aurora ship. So if you're looking to do any kind of box missions or mission running like that, I would definitely recommend the Aurora. Though the weather outside might be frightful, the cozy atmosphere of the Aurora's cockpit is quite delightful. And the reason for that is because there's a number of windows that give you a look into the outside world. Unfortunately, there's too many beams here, and this happens to be a bit of a calling card of RSI all the way from their Aurora line up to their Constellation line, and it's always been a little bit of a gripe of mine. But that being said, it's honestly not too bad in the Aurora line of ships, and it does give you a pretty decent view to the exterior world, which, you know, is nice to have when you're flying a spaceship. Now that being said, let's go ahead and have a look at all the interior features here. We'll start with the sticks. Giggity. Now, I'm a bit of a Virpil guy myself, but I know that a lot of folks from our community and some of my friends have noticed that these are some pretty beefy sticks for a ship of this size, and they honestly look really, really nice. They have this kind of VKB look to them, although I'm not really sure because I've never had a VKB stick before. So if you happen to own one, do let me know if they kind of resemble VKB even a little bit, because I think they honestly took a little bit of their design choices from them and used them in these sticks inside of the Aurora. Now, that being said, the rest of the cockpit is fairly simple here. We do have a nice annunciator panel at the top, which is really nicely sort of blended into the spar here at the front of the cockpit. So I do like the one that's here. I just feel like the rest of them are a little bit too much. The annunciator panel there, by the way, will let you know if you have any major failures with your ship, which is always nice to have. And being right up front and center does make it a lot easier to see, which is always great. We also have a pair of MFDs here on either side, on the port and the starboard side here. And of course, we have a single MFD over here and a dual MFD on this side. Now, this does look like it's just one screen that's being split in half, but that's okay. I don't mind. It gives you all the information that you need flying a ship. And in all honesty, it's a lot more than you'd get in a lot of other smaller ships anyway. A really cool feature of a ship this small is having 2 ingress and egress points. And these are the 2 side doors that you saw during the exterior tour. But what's really cool about these is that you don't have to be forced to climb out of them per se if you're in a hurry. You can simply run out, which is quite nice, especially if you're running courier missions, which is something you're bound to do to make some money as a brand new player in the game. Now, if courier missions are something that you'd really like to do and you don't have any other choice other than the Aurora and the Mustang, I would very, very easily recommend the Aurora for the extra space that it gives you. It's not a lot of space, but it's quite a bit more than the 0 that the Mustangs offer you, and you can definitely put a bunch of different crates in here and deliver them at your leisure to make a few early space bucks pretty easily. What's pretty cool too is that you can use this space to do a little interior redecorating by just dropping some things on the floor as you move things between local and ship inventories. Again, that's something you can't do on the Mustang, and that's why I'd recommend the Aurora for this particular purpose. Alright, let's go and have a look at Urkel.games and see how we can make these ships even better. Now, for the MR and the LN, I'll be posting the links for the default loadouts as well as loadouts that I would personally fly myself. And again, that's based on my opinion, which may be different from yours, and that's totally okay. Note that you can make the MR almost as good as the LN by slapping an extra pair of size 1 CF117 laser repeaters or any other size 1 guns you happen to have on the extra size 1 hardpoints that it has. Unfortunately, though, you're not going to be able to make it better in the missile department, as the LN has a size 4 missile rack and the MR has a size 2 missile rack. So if missiles are important to you, you'll want to get an MR starter pack, and then you can upgrade that to an LN in the upgrade section of the RSI website. Alright, so here we are on Urkel.games, and just a very quick preface here before we get started. If you want to get information about how to purchase these things or where to get them from and how much they're going to cost, you can simply shop for all of the components that you need right here on Urkel.games, add them to your cart, and then Urkel will tell you exactly how much they cost and where you can get them. So I've got the MR and the LN pulled up here, and that's because before we get started, I wanted to show you very quickly what the 2 differences of those ships are going to be. Now, physically, they're going to be pretty much identically the same. Now, the components are going to be a little bit different. The components on the MR will be slightly better, just slightly, than the LN, but the weapons and the missiles on the LN are going to be better than the MR. So on the MR, you only have 2 of the 4 hard points, the size 1 hard points fitted with the Bulldogs, whereas on the LN, you have all 4. So just naturally by that, you're going to have 1344 DPS and 112 alpha damage versus the 672 DPS and the 56 alpha damage on the LN versus the MR, respectively, out of the factory. Now, if your only concern is to upgrade your MR so that it's just as good as the LN only in the firepower department, not the missiles, then you don't have to worry about spending extra money on the LN. You can simply go to your local shop, whichever one sells the weapons that you want here, and you can simply upgrade them to the weapons that you want, and you will have exactly the same amount of firepower as the LN, of course, as long as you're using the same types of weapons, comparatively speaking. Now, the big difference, of course, is going to be in the missile rack. On the missile rack on the M2, or rather the MR, you get a size 2 missile rack, and on the LN, you get a size 4 missile rack. So in my opinion, the missiles are not really working that well in this patch anyway, but if missiles are important to you and you want to have bigger ones or options for different sizes, the LN definitely gives you both of those. The MR unfortunately does not, where you're only getting 2 size 1 missiles. You can, of course, change your missile rack to get 1 size 2 missile. I'm not sure why you would do that. That just seems kind of counterproductive. But with the LN, again, if missiles are important to you, you can change it out to have a size 4, a single size 4 missile, 2 size 3 missiles, 4 size 2 missiles as come by default. And the Dominators, by the way, are pretty good in this patch. And then, of course, you can have 8 size 1 missiles, which is actually what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose the Sparks, which are my personal favorite. They seem to work really well. Okay, so those are going to be the 2 major differences between the 2 ships. I'm going to go ahead and continue customizing the LN, but again, I'll have links for everything down below for both ships. Right, so with the weapons here, we're not going to change anything here. You might want to change these from gimbals to fixed if you just prefer fixed weapons. If you're kind of curious what gimbals are, they just give you a little bit of aim assist to help you hit your target. Now, that can be a little bit helpful to newer players who are a little bit more nervous in combat situations. But honestly, I recommend just going fixed throughout. So that's what we're going to do here. And that's going to help you basically become a better pilot. But it's also going to help you in a situation where, for example, if you're experiencing a lot of lag or there is any kind of network issue going on either between you or the server, the gimbals don't typically work very well in those situations, and the fixed weapons work quite a lot better. So you're definitely getting a bit of an advantage with the gimbals if you're a very new player, just to kind of get your feet wet. But honestly, once you've done that, just switch over to the fixed weapons and learn those, and I guarantee you that you'll be a lot better of a pilot. You'll have a lot more to show for it. The other thing too is that generally speaking, if you upgrade from gimbaled weapons to fixed weapons in any size above size 1, because size 1 weapons can be gimbaled or fixed and there's no penalty for them, then you'll also be getting a DPS boost in bigger weapons by going fixed, because you'll be able to put bigger weapons on the mounts because the space won't be taken up by a gimbal. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Right, so we're going to go ahead with the 481 here. This is going to give us 8 size 1 sparks, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to move on to the shields, the power plants, the coolers, and of course the quantum drive. I should say the power plant. There's only one. And these are all going to be size 1. So for the shields, there's going to be a favorite of mine that I'm going to go with, and that's going to be the FR66. All right, and for the power plants, again, I do have a bit of a favorite of mine, and the JS is making a comeback, baby. We've got the JS13 there. The Quadracell is okay as well. You can go with the Quadracell also, but it seems like the JS is edging that one out just a little bit. You might have to go to a place like Cousin Crow's at Orison to go pick that up. Again, add it to your cart here on Urkel, and you'll get all the info that you need. Okay, moving on to coolers very quickly here. The coolers, we're going to go with glaciers. You can go with industrial coolers here. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it. The glaciers will do a good enough job for you, and so that's why I'd recommend to go with those. Now with the quantum drive, you do have a little bit of an option here. You can go with the civilian Atlas, which is about 151k. That's a pretty fast one. Really, really good on quantum fuel, and honestly, the best just overall that I would recommend between the amount of money that you'll spend on it, the amount of fuel that you'll end up paying for, and of course the distance and the speed at which this thing will take you, I think is a really, really good sort of in-between middle of the road quantum drive, and I would recommend you getting that one. Me personally, I'm doing a lot of bounty hunting in these smaller ships in between sort of smaller areas of the verse, like staying within subsystems like Crusader or Hurston. So for me, the Spectre is going to be better. It is technically faster. It does also have the benefit of lowering your signature radius, your IR and your EM, even though I think one of those, the IR, I don't believe is actually functioning properly in this patch, and thus stealth is kind of broken. But that being said, the acceleration on this is really, really fast in short distances. So if you're focused on short distances, then definitely the Spectre would be better for you. It will probably take a little bit more fuel, but it will, again, give you the benefit of moving faster between smaller distances, which is something that you'll be very likely doing in a combat ship anyway. Okay, and then moving down here, we do have a few paints, as always. That's going to be up for deliberation, and that's going to conclude this video on the Aurora LN and its brother, the MR. If you have any questions, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, as well as links to your own builds. Definitely love to see those. And guys, I just wanted to let you know that this will be my final video before the new year. I am going to take a little break to spend some time with my wife and my family. And so before we end this video and this year out, I just wanted to wish all of you a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. I hope that you're all safe and healthy and have a great time with your family and friends, sort of celebrating whatever it is you're celebrating, whether it's Christmas, whether you're just getting a break off of school or work. I hope you guys have a great time, and I cannot thank you guys enough for all of the love and the support that you've shown me throughout this year. It's really been absolutely insane. We've crushed through 7,000 subscribers, and I can't wait to see where we're going to be this time next year. So I'm going to take a little break the first Tuesday/Wednesday of the year in 2022. I'm still not going to get used to that, is when you can expect to see the next video from me. In the meantime, I might have some posts and stuff to update you guys on some things, but I will be taking a little break, so I hope you guys enjoy yours as well. With that being said, thank you guys so very much for watching this video. I'm really, really grateful for all of the love and support, as I said before. If the video was helpful to you and you found it enjoyable or even just a little entertaining, please let me and YouTube know by leaving a like down below, making sure to subscribe if you're brand new, and of course ringing the bell so that you don't miss any future videos. Of course, I do stream also Wednesdays and Fridays, and this week's Wednesday stream is going to be my last one as well until the new year. But you can catch me Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. Always a great community and environment and atmosphere over there. So I'd love to see you guys there. We have a lot of fun. And of course, our Discord community. There's just so many more things to go through, but the Discord community, awesome place. You guys would absolutely love it. So many wonderful people there. Whether you're new or advanced, we'd love to have you, and we'd love for you to join us there. So that being said, I will wish you guys adieu, and of course, or bid you guys adieu, and hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We'll see you guys in 2022 and in the next video. Bye for now.